Hello, bestie darlings. Things have been a little crazy, but it kind of fits really well with what we're going to be doing today. And it's to go over ArtRx module 102, or number 2. Because there's really not that many of them, but each one of them is an important way of looking. What I've done here with putty is allow it a lot of its own character. Because when you really look at something, you can find other things in it. And that is one of the points of how I make it and how that you look. You know, even if you're a realist artist, there are certain things and certain places where another image comes out. And looking and seeing what other images you can find is one of the ways of actively looking that helps you heal yourself. And the reason it's taken a little while to make this second one is I've been going through some stuff. You know, life gets good, and that's about the time that your brain says, hey, let's take all this stuff in the past you haven't properly dealt with, and it kind of hits you in the face with it. And, you know, things coming up and brewing, and us not wanting to hurt other people, and still wanting to express ourselves. That's a struggle I think we go through our whole life. And sometimes, you know, it just knocks you on your butt. And actively looking takes your brain someplace else, which is wonderful. Gives your mind, instead of being stuck in that, I don't know if it's men or if it's just women, I know it's me, but my mind gets stuck in this loop. And it just keeps going on with, well, what if, and then what, and then what, and you know, I could be stuck on a topic thinking for a long time on stuff maybe I really don't want to think about. That was good. And mistakes happen. So, you know, you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and you move on. One of the ways that helps me move on is to look at art. And I've been doing that for the last couple of days because I started thinking, I really don't want you guys to have anything but the very best of me. But, you know, we all are not at our best all the time. We go through stuff. And in the same way that I use art to allow my body to keep healing while I'm going through these terribly vicious cycles, you know, and I have a daughter who's grown and a granddaughter, and we're not talking. And it's very painful to kind of have lost that relationship. So, you know, your mind gets caught up in, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And where could I have fixed it better? And, you know, how am I going to be better for my son? And, you know, my grandson, if I caused this situation somewhere along the line in the raising, you know, of her, because, you know, it's never one person's fault. It takes two people to tango. So, I've been going through it, and I've been looking at art, not doing a whole lot of creating. And I had the opportunity through all of that, as the worst got over, to spend some time with my grandson. And that kind of helped me. But I had to make some decisions. You know, I decided I don't want to be right. I really don't. And so all of this may be proven wrong one day. I could be totally wrong. Maybe it's not going to work for you. It worked for me. It did wonders for me. And it's still doing wonders for me as things, you know, still come up and life still happens. So take it and try it out. You know, if it works and it's your thing and it's doing the right thing for you, great. And tell somebody else. I want to get this message out there so everybody hears. Okay, so And this you can see, we've got just some paint going on, some colors. I wanted to do something that was kind of medical for this little medical symbol here. Put it together, give it some character. But I'm not going to make it perfect. First of all, I'm not perfect. Second of all, for a painting to have numerous, lots and lots of things that can be created and show up, you really don't want to be perfect. And finding imperfections is one of the other ways of looking. But in these imperfections, these other wonderful things can take place. So, in leaving the imperfections and allowing things to take place as they want to take place, this is paint thinner over my oil paint, things show up. Things happen that maybe you hadn't known was going to happen. These are things that come out because it's just the time to come out. Kind of like, when you're doing good and things are going well, then your body says, time to deal with this old stuff. Which is why I thought it really correlated to kind of what's going on right now. And gives you a chance to spend that time actively looking, creating those wonderful healing benefits. Now, like I said, this happens in just about everything that is a handmade piece of art. I'm not the only art that you can look at for this stuff to start working for you or for a loved one or someone who's going through lupus or IBS or cancer. I mean, there's so many things out there right now, and the drugs leave you sometimes just incapable of being able to do the other things, but you can still look. You're stuck in bed, you're in pain, you're unable to move and do things like that, you can still look. So, that's why it's simple, it is free, and in my case, it worked. We all have our things we're going through, we all have our little demons, and sometimes they pop up their ugly little heads, and am I good enough, and am I not good enough, and hey, I think it's called something like the human condition. You do what you can do. Try to be the best person you can. You keep trying to make sure that your actions are giving the best you to the world that you can do, and sometimes you make it and sometimes you don't. And even if all you're doing is coming home with a little bit of stress, I mean, the stress melts off when you start that active looking. Now, in here, what I'm seeing is a dog. So, as it's creating its own thing, I'm going to help it out a little bit. And we're going to create this picture happening naturally, but give it a little bit more definition there. So there's a dog. And somewhere down here, I'm thinking of a bow tie. Makes me think of going out on the town a little bit and, feeling dressed up and buttoned up and beautiful, and I like doing that. Didn't happen a whole lot. I spent a lot of time here doing this. But, let's see, what do we got over here? Fashion model, maybe? Let's give her some definition. Doing a runway walk. So even if you have art that isn't hiding pictures, pictures show up in the process. Now right there's kind of a hair comb. Right up here, looks like an eyeball. And over here, that's like a hand. Create a little bit right there. And we all need a hand sometimes. And who knows, somewhere in here, what do we got going on? Oh, a little emoji. Let's give him a smile. You know, I make a great effort to make sure that my work is always positive, but, you know, other stuff comes through. I start, and the process creates what's going on. So, and I see a sunset here. Put a little bit of a sun. Happy emoji. What else we got going here? There's a nice place for a bird. And now it's harder in realism, I think, to be able to find all of these wonderful characters that come out. I see some praying hands over here, next to a kneeling woman. It's not so hard to create them. Maybe an arrowhead. Of course, it's kind of looking like a leaf. Maybe it was supposed to be a leaf. When this is complete, a lot of these things will have a lot of their aspects covered up. And you will still, in these areas of interest, be able to bring out and find your own things that aren't actually spelled out. Me creating them's fun. And so that's what I do. And I'm not going to show you all of the ones that I create. But when the next line comes out and this is on there, you can get it off the website, abstractanessa.com. And you can really blow that thing up and get close and spend some time finding the images. Spend some time finding your own images that weren't things that I brought out, but were things that are just happening naturally. April Burton, my next door neighbor, she does everything from abstract to realism to photographs mixed with vector to digital art that's just extraordinary. A.L. Burton, check her out on her website.com. And looking in her things, you can also find stuff like that little wing there. An angel's kind of watching over you through medical process. Looks more like a butterfly. Isn't it neat how this stuff just kind of comes out and does its thing as it wants to? So as far as creating, I don't know if I'm creating or if I'm just holding the brush. But I do know in everything you see, there's little pictures. You can, when I found out about this, I was still real small and I was looking at advertising books, 6th, 7th grade, something like that. And somebody had told me that they hide things in the picture of the ice cube and the bubbles in a glass and the backdrop. And you turn it upside down and you turn it sideways and these things start showing up. So, what do we got over here? That looks like needs a little tree because it's kind of a meadow. And you make sure that from every angle you're taking a look. Flip it upside down, screenshot the darn thing, I don't care, So you get the chance to do it and to experience. Do it whatever way is going to work for you. What am I seeing in there? I like that little white picket fence idea. Let's get a picket fence in there. That happy home image. And besides, I want looking at art to be fun. It's beautiful. It's engaging, and why can't it also be fun? Why can't the art of looking really be an enjoyable part of your day? This isn't something that you do just because it's going to heal you. This is something that you do with joy. It's an enjoyable experience to me. And if it's not an enjoyable experience to you, don't do it. You have to take care of yourself in whatever way that you feel is the best. So, and me, I'm going to keep creating things that I think give those places in that dimension and that chance to find. And other artists are going to create their things, and hey, you can find stuff in there too. All you really got to do is spend that time looking, trusting yourself. Hey, I start looking at what's going on here. I'm going to find something. And the fact that you spent the time, you got your brain into the other side of your head, and all that is allowing your body to do what your body needs to do. Subtlety. What did it start off doing? And that's 102. Spending the time looking, finding pictures, seeing things, and little drips here, and the character of the color movement and where the colors have come together, and the things that were put on there, and in the things that just make themselves because they want to be there. And that is 102. Look. Find things weren't meant to be there, that were meant to be there, that are hidden, that just happened, that got created, and they're everywhere, everywhere. All right, I love you, bestie darlings. We'll see you for 103